A lot has happened since we left Corte. As usual, we hiked a bunch, sometimes through the night, sometimes through snow and cold, relentless rain. The sun did shine on us every once in a while, and we were grateful for every second of warmth.
We met lots of farm animals and dogs along the way, and they're always excited to say hello. As usual, when hiking through the Corsican countryside, we encountered countless ruins in varying states of decay, and we wondered about the people who built them, or used to call these places home. So I just saw something on the ground that I've always wanted to see since I was a child. I watched a bunch of National Geographic TV and stuff, and there's a dung beetle here on the ground. So I don't know if it's really a dung beetle, but it is a beetle rolling a piece of dung. So it's a dung beetle.
Once again, we were treated by the beauty of the Corsican wilderness during our hikes. However, this section of the Mare was poorly marked at junctions, and we spent a lot of time finding our way. Trail finding kept us actively engaged and working together to stay on course.
Our third morning in, we enjoyed a coffee in the quaint village of Vivario. We resupplied at the small grocery store for the next leg of our journey. I don't think their turnover is very high, or that their products are very fresh at this time of the year, because we bought some ham for breakfast, and by 3 o'clock I felt ill. I'm feeling absolutely horrible in my stomach. We just went for a little dip and I had something to eat, and I don't know what caused it, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to throw up in the next 10 minutes or so. By 5 I was puking violently, and by 9 o'clock it had hit Daniella too.
Thankfully, we found a bed and breakfast in the village of Visavona where we could escape the cold and recover. We were actually really blessed to come across this bed and breakfast called Casa Alta. The owners, Vincent and André, are the embodiment of excellent hosts. After a warm reception, we were served broth and hot tea to hasten our recovery. For dinner, they served traditional Corsican dishes that were all carefully prepared in-house by Henri. We will be forever grateful for the hospitality we were shown during our stay.
After a few days in bed, we were ready to hit the trail again. We started up the most famous trail in Corsica, the GR20, a trail famous the world over as the hardest hiking trail in Europe. We planned on hiking 3 of the 16 stages. We would have liked to hike the whole GR20, but this early in the season, ice axes and crampons are necessary. It was invigorating to be in the high mountains again. We felt light and fresh after the recent purge and ready to take on the world. The last hour has been pretty tricky because there was so much snow. You okay? There was so much snow, most of the blazes were covered, so it was really hard to trail find. And then also it's just been really steep with the snow, so we've been slipping a lot, as you see. A late start meant hiking through the dark once again. As the sun dropped, the wind picked up, and the cold that ensued reminded us of how high we were. But we had some solace to look forward to, as each stage of the GR20 culminates with a refuge. At this altitude, getting out of the wind makes it feel about 10 degrees warmer.
A warm breakfast in the refuge helped us get motivated for the day ahead. A day we knew that was going to be filled with more intense wind, steep snow, frigid river crossing, and a high probability of rain. The rain came early, and we donned the little rain gear that we had. Because we've been traveling in Corsica for more than 50 days now, we have more in our packs than just hiking gear, and we didn't have enough room to pack for all situations. So we came into the mountains knowing that we were going to suffer a bit if the weather was rainy and cold.
It was tempting to think about the thousands of kilometers of beautiful coastline where we could be relaxing while sipping chilled rosé. But even more satisfying to think about was, if we can do this with a smile on our face, what else are we capable of?
We met some fellow hikers coming the opposite direction. They warned us that the next stage was currently impassable due to steep technical sections covered in ice. We were willing to be cold and wet because of the lack of proper rain gear, but we weren't willing to be injured or dead due to the lack of ice tools. So we decided to branch off at Col de Verde, where there was a road down to the closest village of Cosano. With this change in plans, we were not going to pass to the GR20 refuge anymore to escape the cold and get dry. As we rounded the final corner to Col de Verde, we saw a cottage with smoke billowing out of the chimney. It was a privately owned refuge that was not in our map. We knocked, and we were invited to get warm by the fireplace. The place was not officially open until May 1st, but with the wind and rain getting worse, the owner welcomed us to stay for the night. On top of that, they invited us to share a warm meal of bolognese pasta with wine, fresh bread, and Corsican cheeses. We've never been so grateful to have a hot meal inside a warm building next to a fire.